गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉट। गना शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है। और आज we're going to see the widening crisis of West Asia. And today is a very interesting issue. And after all, there's a war going on in Iran and Israel. And this is widening over the past 3 months as we've been tracking it. It's widening. In fact, the war is now 1 year old, as we all know. But that's a different story. Let's see the major issues here first. Okay, before I start talking of the West Asian crisis, let me put across a few things. As of now, you see the stars, these are the big things which are going all around our country. We have the West Asian crisis, you have the Ukraine war, there's a problem in China. Around us, Pakistan is in problems. J&K elections have been held yesterday. We don't know what's the outcome. Tibet, there are major issues in Tibet which are surfacing, and that's going to blossom out. Next to us, Bangladesh, troublesome as ever, and then of course Myanmar. So what I'm going to do now is, while I will today talk about the West Asian crisis and all this, the major issue is that in the forthcoming week, we're going to touch upon all these with learned people. I mean, today I rushed into doing this. I was actually not going to do this, but so be it. And of course, following this, we're going to go into China with General Narayanan. Join me later at about 8 o'clock for that. Okay, let's get going at this. When you want to understand what's happening between Israel and Lebanon and Iran, Houthis and Gaza, let's see one by one what's the state of affairs. What's happening in Gaza? Attacks in Gaza are continuing. The West Bank is restive. That's the important part. So the West Bank is restive. There are problems in this area. Now the Gaza Strip has been split into two, right? So there's movement across Gaza Strip is blocked. West Bank, you have issues coming up. And violence continues, but that's a holding action. Israel has left some troops there, and they're going to continue with it, and there's no let up on that. Okay. Now, let's switch to Lebanon. With the 4 fronts which Israel is handling, I'm going to explain each front to you. The first, 8 September, Israel carried out a attack, a physical heli-drop attack on the missile facility at Masayef. Where's Masayef? It's in Syria, next to Lebanon. Okay, this was couched as a Syrian Scientific Studies and Research Center. It was a fantastic operation where they carried out airstrikes first, knocked off the guards, and then they inserted 2 companies, Helibon, who went in and finished off this thing, the missile facility. So, which means they've dried out the inlet which is coming into Lebanon. Before they did all this, and when did they do this? They did it on 8th October. Then, of course, it was followed on 17th September with the pager attacks. 18th, they did the walkie-talkie attacks, right? And 23rd onwards, they started hitting the Lebanon through their aerial attacks. On this map, it's very clear as to where these attacks have gone in. If you see to the south, there's a concentration of red dots where maximum attacks have gone in, and they've attacked in the north also. Side by side, they started eliminating the leadership. They've eliminated the leadership, and we know that. And on 28th, they eliminated Hassan Nasrallah. Okay. On 29th September, when you look at it, just about 4 days back, the Israelis continued their aerial attacks on Lebanon. And on 30th September, they started their ground attack 2 days back. Now, where are these ground attacks going? That's important to understand. Look at this map. It's in the southern part, right? There's a river out there, which they said first, they've given a notice to everyone to vacate and go past. That river is called Litani River. They've said go past, everyone to vacate past the Litani River. And then there's another river to the north, which they will later go on. Okay. So this is where it appears as if the ground attacks have gone in. Right. Then these ground attacks are not going to be easy. From the videos which have come out of these ground attacks, there are a lot of underground bunkers and tunnels where Hezbollah has hidden away its missiles and all its armory. Those are huge lot of clips which are floating around. I'm not going to show them and waste our time. Right. Now, they've also struck Beirut. Now, the moment you start striking Beirut, the equation within Lebanon changes. Remember, Hassan Nasrallah and Hezbollah don't control Lebanon fully. They are a state within a state. Okay, and there are other Muslims and Druze Christians who are not for Hezbollah to the north. The moment you start hitting Beirut, things change. Right? So the political support for Hezbollah starts waning out. So that also they've started. And more they hit, the more Hezbollah gets polarized or rather isolated away from Lebanon. So that's a problem. Okay. For Hezbollah, which they've created, the remnants of Hezbollah. Okay. But look at the left map. If you look at the left map, again, let me make it bigger. Have a look at this. Look at the map on the left. That's the place where they've gone in. The map on the right is where the 2006 war was fought. In 2006, they went far to the north up to Bekaa Valley. Bekaa Valley is where Lebanon is written. On the end right of it, a little lesser is Lebanon. So this time they've said, okay, you all get past Litani River and we don't know what's going to happen. After all, the ground offensive is only 3 days old. And my guess is they're not going to be there for long. They'll do maximum destruction wherever they must have collected their intelligence of the Israelis would have by now collected intelligence about where Hezbollah has stashed its weapons, arsenal, everything. And they're going to finish it off and then come out. It's like mowing the grass. The grass will grow again, but they have to mow it again. And this is the time they feel they'll move it deep. So, a lot of things. This is not going to be happening and finishing in a hurry. So, that's the second. So, Hamas neutralized, Hezbollah neutralized. What's the third one? Third is, of course, Houthis. Now, 28, 29, 30th September, around that time, the Houthis fired a missile at Israel. It was intercepted. One odd, I think, fell also. But then the Houthis have attacked Israel has attacked the Houthi power plants and seaport facilities at Ras Isa and Hodeidah. So now Houthis are in a blackout phase, right? Just to give you an idea, Hodeidah is the port which controls the Red Sea channel. So to an extent, Houthis have also been sidelined. Now, what does that leave? So, which means the Iran proxies were weakened. Like someone said, the hands of the octopus were cut. So the head had to react. And now the head reacted. But interestingly, in all this, the Saudis and the UAE have remained silent. They have not spoken. US is openly supporting Israel in this whole deal because Israel is serving US interests. And Iran was at the danger of losing grip on this whole story. Remember, Iran is fighting from the shadows. And Iran doesn't have an air force. I keep repeating, it doesn't have a worthwhile navy. It doesn't have a worthwhile land force which can maneuver and carry out attacks in depth. So it has to rely on its proxies to project power, and those proxies are getting cut. Okay. Now it had to react. It had to react because it is a show of support for the proxies and for its own prestige. So, I mean, Iran this time had no choice at all in this attack. Okay. So, what happened on 1st October? They fired 180 to 200 missiles on Israel. They targeted a few airfields of Israel, and they also targeted the Mossad headquarters. From reports which are coming, minimal damage. Israel and USA are fully coordinated, they're in sync, and they both operated together. Over and above that, all the Gulf countries, they closed down their airspace. Right? Now, where are we today? The retaliation from Israel is imminent. Will it happen? That's $1 million question. Okay. But we can speculate as to what can happen. Right. What are the options with Israel? Let's see what the options with Israel are. Right. I mean, we'll discuss the options a little bit. What else has happened? Now, Netanyahu has played a very smart hand diplomatically. He's made a diplomatic foray to keep the Arab world on its side by displaying this when he addressed the UN General Assembly. He says, this is the curse. The curse is the states of Iran, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Gaza Strip and Yemen. The blessing, as per him, are India, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, UAE, Sudan. So he says these are okay. So he's virtually split the Arab world, the Muslim world, and with this, and after that he's given a direct message to Iran to say, look, we are with you. We want to do a regime change and throw these ayatollahs out and all that. Will that happen? That's a different story. But he's thrown the bait. Okay. Regime change is not so easy in a place like Iran, but that has instigated Iran to take some actions. What else? Israel's defensive missile systems. I just thought I'll put all this here. And they've got 4 types of missile systems: Arrow 1, 2, 3, Iron Dome, David Sling. Now, Arrow 3 is the longest. When you see this, you get a clear idea. Arrow 3 starts hitting incoming ballistic missiles beyond space, or rather in space, beyond the atmosphere. Iron Dome is the least range. So what you have to understand is that Iran has got a layered air defense, anti-ballistic missile defense with good intelligence and monitoring systems, and that is completely reinforced by what the USA gives them. And they have space-based assets. The moment you have space-based assets and powerful radars, any incoming missile can be intercepted. Okay. Now, what are the options? Like I said, what are the options available with Israel? What can Israel do? Remember, Israel has already told Iran that we can hit you where we want. Now, where would they like to hit? That's the question. Option 1, take out Iran's nuclear power plant, nuclear plants or nuclear facilities. That's a good option. Okay. But will they do it? It has its own ramifications. Now, option 2, hit critical areas in Iran. That's their option. Option 3, hit all the seaports of Iran. They got an island called Karg Island. Karg Island is a place where Iran pumps out all its oil. If Karg Island goes, that oil won't go. If oil doesn't go, China will suffer. That's a story I'll talk a little later. Right? They can take out Karg Island because Karg Island is closer to Israel. You don't have to hit it at its extreme. They can also take out all the refineries of Iran. That's the next option. They can also go in for a similar assassination of Iran's leaders. So Israel has got a lot of options. Now, what will Israel do? Let us see, because Netanyahu has said what he has had to say. Okay, now let's see what the next thing is. That's it. Israel has vowed retaliation. Okay, that's what is there also. Many of the missiles were intercepted with the help of US. So it's now Israel's turn. What is going to pan out next? Will Israel do this in a hurry? I don't think so. Israel will wait it out, right? Collect their intelligence and then go in for it. Okay. Now, even the White House has come out and said, look, there will be consequences for Iran's attack. So Israel and USA are on the same page in this whole story. Okay. So far, so good. Let's talk about Iran and its missile systems and drones and all that. Because, you go to Washington Post, see this article, what Iran's April attack on Israel revealed about its weapon arsenal. They've done a detailed analysis. Now, this detailed analysis, if it comes in Washington Post, I'm sure Israel has got complete details. And they've analyzed all the weaknesses of the Israeli system. And there are quite a few. And we'll talk about of it a little later. But let's see Israel's arsenal and what further it can do. Okay. What Israel used against what Iran used against Israel during the last attack, April attacks, right, was this. They used 120 ballistic missiles, 30 cruise missiles, and 170 drones. What are these drones? They're Shahid drones. There are two varieties of these drones. And these drones, on the head had a warhead which can go ahead. But they're all slow-moving drones. They got hit badly, right? And to cross 1,000 kilometers over 2-3 hours, they get spotted. And they were spotted in this way. We also must remember that the last attack by Iran was a signal. Look, this is what we can do. It was a show of force. People said, by firing 300 drones, missiles, and cruise missiles, Iran said we have quantity, and quantity has its own quality. That was a narrative which was being shown, but neither that has proven right nor this last one has proven right. We'll talk about this a little later. But like I said earlier, the last attack gave out Iran's hand, and Israel has completely taken cue from there as to how to plan this whole affair, or rather how to defend this whole thing. Okay. They also use this Pave cruise missile with a range of about 1,000 miles. 1,000 miles means 1,600 kilometers. The distance between Israel and Iran is about 1,300 kilometers. Okay, extreme ranges. So it's a difficult kind of a proposition as it is. Now, interestingly, you leave this Kebar-Shekan missile system, which is just about 900 miles. It just reaches Israel. The Emad and the Ghadar are ones which are used this time, right? What is Iran has not yet used are these. I mean, one doesn't know, but generally, so far, what has come out is Iran has so far not used these missile systems. Iran, as it appears, has also used hypersonic systems. So when you look at hypersonic systems fired from Iran, wherever they're fired from, and going up to Israel with the distance and the speed, the flight time is about 10 to 12 minutes. So what Israel has done, Israel with the help of USA, has tracked these missiles in space, and within those 10 to 15 minutes, they've started attacking them, or rather, defending against them. So overall, a few missiles did get through, But then I think Israel and USA have played a smart hand. Now, what do we learn from this so far? Technology. You need to have good technology. You need to have a good intelligence system. You need to have a good strike system, and you need to have an integrated system. Am I going to speak about this now? No, I'm not going to speak about this. Why? Because today in the afternoon, I spoke to Snehesh Alek Philip on the print, and that video will be out later in the day or early tomorrow morning. So have a look at that. I've explained what are the lessons which we have to draw in India, what are the things we have, and we'll go ahead. I also see some questions which say, oh, a small country like Israel has so many missiles and we don't have, and all that. I'll answer that. Don't worry. We are not in a bad shape as some of you are imagining. Okay. In fact, we're in a good shape. Don't worry. Okay. Right. Now let's discuss Iran. Iran was very strong till it fought from the shadows through its militias, whether it's Hamas, Houthis, Hezbollah. It posed the multi-domain danger or threat. It could close the international lanes of communication. It could close slots. It could, threaten Hezbollah. I mean, threaten Israel. Everything. But today it is weakened and isolated. Let's be very clear. There are no friends. Okay, all the friends are lying paralyzed. Iran's strength is lying paralyzed. And remember, it doesn't have an air force, it doesn't have a navy, it doesn't have a sophisticated land force. IRGC is nice to talk, okay, but does it have the capability of carrying out land attacks or surgical strikes? So far in Iran's history, it has not happened. Remember, Iran is a divided society within. Okay, the clerics and the ayatollahs have a very hard hold on Iran, but war is something where things could get unraveled, and there is opposition to clerics. Let's not have any doubts about it, and that is why Israel has been able to penetrate into Iran in a big manner. Right now, we also must not never forget, despite everything, Israel and USA have been able to take out high-profile targets of Iran, whether it was Ismail Haniyeh or Soleimani or Fakirzadeh. Fakirzadeh and Ismail Haniyeh were taken out there in Iran. Nasrallah to Lebanon mein tha. So that's it. Oh, very clear. One thing, like I said, with all the options which Israel has, Israel can hit Iran wherever it wants. I have no doubt about it. The repercussions of all is something which we will discuss. As of now, Iran does not have the resources to hit back in many domains. The only domain, it was operating on two domains. One, it's proxies, the other was missile force. That's gone. China and Russia can't help it. I mean, we'll talk of that a little later. It lacks RSI capability. What is RSI? Recce strike integration. It doesn't have that sophisticated EW capability, or it doesn't have the communications or the command and control systems. Okay, so that is very clear. It might have the wherewithal, but will it be able to put everything across? We don't know. Will Iran now gamble and put, say, 1,000 drones and cause damage? Remember, hereafter, every drone which Iran fires means it goes down a notch in its own power. And if that happens, the second thing happens. A second wave from Iran comes out, then Israel will be no holds barred. Then all those options are in play. Right now, there are people who say Iran might not do anything else. Iran has really got very few options left. And if Iran overplays its hands, there's Ayatollahs might get turned over. And that's what Benjamin Netanyahu has been pointing at. Important. And sanctions are crippling it. It's not getting out of sanctions. It's, you'll be surprised. For a major oil producer like Iran, its GDP is less than Bangladesh. So you can imagine where Iran is at this point of time. Okay, what's the analysis? What's the broad analysis which comes out of this whole story? The current escalation by Israel is fully planned. It's a fully planned operation. They've bided their time and they've gone for it. One. Second, it shifts the focus from Gaza completely. Those human rights, all that can be sorted out later. It's gone there. Right. But let me put it across. Israel is not in a great position either. Israel is stuck in Gaza. Even now, there's some fighting going on there. Even in Lebanon, there's street-to-street fighting going on. They'll continue to fire Lebanese, whoever is there. And like I said, all those buildings, built-up area, still bunkers, tunnels, everything is there. All that ammunition, everything is there. So Israel will not find the going easy in Lebanon. The big job is still Lebanon, right? So we'll have to see how it goes. It's only 3 days old. And the videos which are coming out are huge. Will it trigger a wider war? We are on the cusp of it. There is full chance. Right. Iran has also vowed retaliation. Iran has said, if you attack our oil fields, we'll attack the oil fields of the Gulf countries, which is a bigger problem. Okay. Now, Iran is, by this very act, Iran has very clearly said, I can't retaliate against Israel. That's the messaging which is coming out. The moment you say, I'll hit Saudi Arabia, world, all that. The moment the threat has gone to Saudi Arabia, what happens? The China-backed deal between Saudis and Iran is broken. Forget it. All that tom-tom which was happening last year is gone. Now, look at the way this whole Muslim world is now split. Saudis, UAE, Kuwait, Jordan, they're all kept quiet. They're not backing the Palestinians. They're not backing Iran. So they're all back into the US fold because their security today lies with USA. Because they've been threatened. Their security, their well-being, everything is lying with USA, and they can't get out of it. Okay, so where does that leave China? Oil prices have ramped up already. If this war escalates, then we are in an energy crisis. Okay, so there's a problem. And of course, like I said, the China-backed deal has come about, is unraveled. Now, the thing we need to understand, escalation here will put China on a back foot. See, if the energy prices go up and the energy flows into China reduce, China has done a lot of stimulus that will fall apart. And China itself is in a situation in the South China Sea. There are a lot of things happening there, which next week sometime I'll cover that also. And immediately after this, we are going to head 8 o'clock with Rajiv Narayanan and see what's happening in China in their internal dynamics. Okay. Actually, China is marginalized. It cannot interfere in this whole story because it's fixed. Plus, their internal problems are there, which we've been talking of. Russia is marginalized. What can Russia do? Russia needs drones from Iran and ammunition from North Korea. So, where does Russia go? Russia can't do much. But let's be very clear about one thing. De-escalation is not going to happen. There's no peace. If anything, this extends tensions in this area for a long time to come. If you thought that the Ukraine war was just about 3 years old, this is will be 1 year old on October 7th, and we're going to discuss this uh, through a webinar as to where the whole thing is going. Today is my analysis, but I'm going to get good people to talk as usual with varied views, and I think Ambassador Sajnar will be there, and others will be there to talk about this on 7th as we hit the anniversary. Okay, so tensions will remain. Things are not going to ease out, and India has to live with these. Remember that. Okay, where does India stand? At this point of time, India can do very little except exhibit strategic patience. Like I said in the first slide, we have enough problems around us. We have to focus on them. Not that we don't focus on this, but that's our, at this point of time, I feel Bangladesh, Myanmar, Kashmir, and Pakistan are the more critical issues. And I'm going to talk about all this in the forthcoming week. And that's why it's so important that today I said we'll have two back-to-back sessions. Can you do externally, when you look at India from an external viewpoint, this is an opportunity for mediation. You have to be patient, let the thing get over. But already there are some indications that, Modi ji's outreach to Russia and to Ukraine shows a glimmer that we can do mediation. Even in this, we could do mediation. After all, we've already reached out to Netanyahu. I'm sure we have good books with Iran, and we can reach out to, the Palestinian Authority and politicians in Lebanon and start looking. After all, we have major equities in the Gulf. Who else will be okay for both the parties? Israel will definitely not hereafter agree on China or Russia. So that's a problem, right? So externally, you have this great opportunity of a mediation. Externally, you need to ensure that your energy inflows come in. Luckily, the Russian inflows won't stop. Okay, what might that also not much, might get a little iffy is the inflows from the Gulf, but that's we'll see. I think we are in a good position here. Internally, we need to consolidate. I mean, there's no two ways about it. We need to consolidate. Like I told you, internally, uh, Kashmir elections have been held. There are going to be ramifications. We're going to discuss that sooner than later. In fact, tomorrow we'll have a discussion on this also with General Hasnain and General Satish Dua when we talk about the surgical strikes. Then we have to look at Bangladesh and Manipur and Myanmar. And then Pakistan, which I would call that bit as internal, and China. How do you take the Tibet issue forward? These are things which are on the plate immediately for me. They're all highly volatile and high value stuff for India. We also need political unity in between. Actually, I'm distressed, whether it's the BJP or the Congress or anyone. For certain things, I think we need to go above politics. And somehow, we are not able to do that as a country. And that, as a responsible citizen of the nation, I find it distressing, actually. So my appeal to, it doesn't matter which party you are from, this is a time when everyone has to come together for India. That's more important. And then we need to focus on our neighborhood. Have internal consolidation, neighborhood strong, political unity, then you're on a roll. Then you can't be stopped. Right? Actually, today this is all I had. I thought I'll do the whole thing because next week I'm going to have a full-fledged discussion on 7th on the Iran, Iraq, Hezbollah, everyone with a few experts. Mm, there's no problem. And let me see who are the people coming. I have lists all right with me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Israel. On 7th we'll have Professor Michael Rubin from New York. He'll join in. Then we'll have Brigadier Rumel Dahiya and Ambassador Sajan. That's on 7th. That's on Monday. Okay. And then, yeah, 1 minute. Yeah. 9th October, we're going to talk about J&K. Once the elections get over, 8th, the results will come. 9th, we'll talk. I'll get General Hasnain, DGP Kuldeep Khoda, and Jawad Beg, the politician there. So we'll get a thing, so which is important. 10th, we'll talk of Bangladesh once again, because Bangladesh is completely on my radar. Okay. China, I will be talking. I'll also be talking of 3 very important topics of China. One today, immediately after this, we're going to talk of the internal factors of China. There is panic in China. I'm going to talk of India, China, what are the issues, latest. And then my article which I had written, the coming war with China, how things are going to shape out. And we'll talk about all this because I think, and everywhere let's see the interconnections with one and the other. Right, that's all I have to say. I'll take on a few questions. At the outset, Kaushalendra Tripathi, thanks a lot for joining me as a member. Yeah, your question. Let me take this question. It says, "Sir, Iran with 10 billion USD has brought 200 missiles of 1,200-kilometer range to spare for Israel hitting at thousands in stockpile. Why India is struggling with Prahar and Pranash? How do you know that we are struggling? Who told you this? Let me ask you this question. We are not struggling. Okay, we have enough. Look, Pralay is a subsonic cruise missile, long range. Today, subsonic cruise missiles will all be swatted off. Okay, and we have enough ballistic missiles. We have, and our dynamics are different. Like I told you, Iran has a lopsided force structure because of the sanctions and all. Okay, it has gone in for proxies. Our story is completely different. We are a full-fledged multi-domain force. Okay, so our dynamics are different. So don't worry, we have plenty. Just to give you, yeah. See, he says, why are our numbers and stockpiles so low? Who said we are low? Just give you a broad idea. Take a Grad BM-21 rocket regiment. Each launcher has 40 rockets. Okay, 6 launchers to a battery, 240 to a battery. To a regiment, 3 batteries, 720. A regiment lets go 720 rockets in one go. Okay, everyone knows we have 5 regiments. So if 5 regiments fire, how much is it? 720 into 5, 3600. And how many salvos do we have? You'll be surprised. It goes into lakhs. So, and the rest proportionally. So don't think for one moment also, even for one moment, that we don't have the capability to write. The second part of stockpiling, which I must tell everyone, I have explained this very in detail with my on the print video, which will be coming out, and I'll put it in the. Of course, I'll put it in social media, everything. I'll also put it in Gunner Shot in the in my community, the link. See, the problem with stockpiling is if you stockpile, after some time, these age and finish off. And if you don't use them during that time, 10, 15 years, that's a dead loss. And they are costly equipment, very costly missiles. So you can't afford it. You can't keep a missile for 20 years and throw it out. So what you do is you develop the capability of building the missile, okay, and fast forwarding production facilities, excess capacity, but you produce less and keep stockpile less because you have to, if you stockpile more, you need more facilities to stockpile. That's also a costly affair. If you have more stockpile facilities, the chances of their being let out are also that much. Vulnerability becomes more. So it's a game. So don't think that you should need so much in stockpile. It's not needed. What you need is a distributed, well-oiled system which can step up should the need arise. Okay, I've done this video with General Gautam Murthy on logistics capability of the armed forces. Have a look at that; you'll understand. Yeah, Krishna Chaitanya, same. See, I don't know where you chaps are from. Okay, it appears to me that you chaps are from USA, and you're taken away by all these narratives which people keep peddling around. Uh, we have adequate resources. I must tell you this. I've dealt with this story. The rest we have, I leave it to your good senses. We have a great potential. Unfortunately, it is being corrupted. Yeah, all this is, Krishna, stop thinking like this. Okay, stop thinking. The faster you stop thinking of it, the better it is. Yeah, 79, 72, Hoor Airlines. Good evening. Hi. You keep changing your thing every day. How was your discussion at Chanakya Defense Dollar? Fantastic. We had a great thing. Tomorrow I'll get the MP4 from there and I'll put it out on this thing. I'll put out what the chief said and I'll also put out the panel discussion with the vice chief. Tomorrow, hopefully by tomorrow evening, it should be up. Uh, 8 p.m. with General Narayanan, yes. Do you think Russia will get involved? I've told you. Russia is today not in a position to do anything. Okay. Are series of events eventually leading to the overthrow of Shia Mullah regime of Iran? The regime is unpopular now in Iran as well and considered evil internationally. See, forget evil internationally and all that. Okay, Iran still remains a good friend of India. We need Iran, and we have good relations with Iran. So let's not get into these boxes and narratives which are sent out internationally. Uh, will the regime be overturned? Possible. Will democracy come in? At this point of time, we'll see how it goes. It depends on what the next actions by Israel are. Depending on that, we'll see how it. Yeah. Thank you for sharing your vast experience and knowledge for Chennai. It's not. I look beyond the point. It's life is costly. Information is free. Okay, that's the thing. Okay. What happens if China attacks Taiwan and Japan? They'll not attack anywhere. Don't worry. Oh. We saw Turkish stealth drones, smart bombs, Cuban. How does it affect Indian security? It does. I told you, don't worry about it. Okay, there's no this thing. That's why I just see that video which Snehesh Alex Phillips and I had a discussion. It's a half an hour video focused completely on the Indian scene. Don't worry. How does widening of conflict in West Asia impact Indian mandala? Can we protect our strategic interests and not get? Yeah, we can. Don't worry, we can. That's what I said. You're in a good position externally. Mediation. Yeah, Iran has said our response has concluded, but it has warned US not to interfere. Is Iran in any position to dictate anything to anyone? Has Israel baited Iran into a conflict? Yes, to the last part. But Iran might feel its response was concluded, but Israel might not. So the whole thing is open. Don't worry. Where hypersonic missiles fired glide vehicles? No, they're not glide vehicles. They're just hypersonic vehicles, not missiles. Or whether cruise missiles, we don't know. Right? BrahMos 2 is at today at about Mach 3, Mach 4. How has Iran gotten this technology? Obviously from China. China, Russia, and some homegrown. Right? So the question, you actually answered your own questions. How realistic is the danger of nuclear proliferation in Middle East now? It's highly dangerous. Proliferation of nuclear technology in this time period might not happen. In future, yes. Iran might conduct a test soon to demonstrate its capabilities and deter Israel. Let's see. Then Saudi will rush. I think you chaps are too imaginative. That's about all. What is the warhead capacity of these Iranian ballistic missiles? How much kg of warhead? They should be carrying 100 to 200 kg minimum. Uncle, last days China was testing missiles near Indian border. Nephew ji, don't worry. I'll analyze that separately. Uska ek aa raha hai. I mean, you have to understand what the test was. That was a subsonic cruise missile. Hitting a subsonic cruise missile is dead duck. That to an high altitude. The trouble will come to hit a supersonic cruise missile. Okay. So if they have said what they have said and you have reacted, you have a long way to go. How come in both attacks Iran has carried out, most drones and missiles have been intercepted and hardly 1-2 people have died? This means this was a choreographed. It is not choreographed. You have to understand. Their retaliation is as per their capability. Their capability is that much only. They can only retire that much. Yeah, it's relatively easy to predict Netanyahu's behavior now. Normally, now it's safe to say Netanyahu is equal to escalation. He only knows one answer. Yeah, that he's got. Actually, Israel as a whole doesn't have any choice. It's very reassuring and educative to listen. Yeah. No, that's the whole thing. You see, what happens, I don't blame you because you people have not dealt with all these things. And this is my life, whole life I've spent in this. I mean, just to put it in picture, I was part of the first Prithvi and Agni missile firing in way back in 1988. So I know this game well. Okay, and that was when Dr. Abdul Kalam was my boss in DRDL Hyderabad. So when you come to gunner shot, you come to someone who's very seasoned. Anyone, it's not me, anyone who comes is very seasoned, full of experience, who knows his beans. And that's why I tell everyone, come and subscribe to gunner shot. Okay, since last night or next, there's a talk of Israelis bases being hit in the missile strike by Iran. Nothing happened. It's all false. There's nothing much has happened. Very clear. This week, Kashmir saw huge rallies in support of Hezbollah, where even young girls were seen saying, "Har ghar se Hezbollah niklega." Do we need to take it seriously or the paid stooges? We'll talk of it 7th, 9th. We'll talk of Kashmir. But we have to be very clear that we have a problem in Kashmir. The problem is not going to run away. It got diluted, but that problem is a long-term issue, and we'll tackle it as we go along. Do you think the world peace is possible when USA, UK love creating conflicts for profit all over the world? Who said USA and UK are only creating profits? Conflicts. There are enough people. Pakistan creates conflicts for free. Look at Bangladesh. It's already half of Bangladesh is ready to fight with India. Okay, look at Myanmar. It's a self-inflicted conflict. The complete Middle East is, it's the major problem is not instigated by USA and UK. It is a Shia versus Sunni problem. So let's not keep blaming others. Geopolitical events like these keep on throwing light that situations of war can arise anytime for a nation. What is your take on those who say Bharat should fight at 10 trillion GDP? Not wait. We should fight. We never have to need to fight. We should not fight. But, okay, let me put this. I read Deng Xiaoping. Deng Xiaoping's theory was he says if war is imminent, see if you can put it back by 5 years. Negotiate and push it back by 5 years. And after 5 years, renegotiate if the thing is not improved, put it back by 10 years. If not, take it back to by another 15 years. So this is as you keep taking war away from you, you will keep growing. And after 30 to 40 years, you will not need to fight at all. And at that time, when you don't have to fight, you're a superpower. This Xi Jinping fellow, like an idiot, did exactly opposite of what Deng Xiaoping has said, and he's suffering. I think we should adopt what Deng Xiaoping said. How can Israel manage with a small population? They're managing, they have no choice. Maro ya maro. Bas baat khatam. Existential problem. Existential problem means they'll fight the way they are supposed to. Bangladesh has been increasing its ties with China. Do you think China will set up a military base in Bangladesh? If so, what will Bangladesh will not be allowed to allow by USA to give permission to China to set up a military base. Just forget it. If any military base comes up in Bangladesh, it will be US base. We should be very clear what's happened in Bangladesh. Entire future of Bangladesh tomorrow will be written by USA. So don't worry on this. What if Pak launch similar large scale attack? What yeah, you chaps are got creepy imaginations. You think Pakistan is in a state to do all this? If Pakistan does all this, that's the end of the story for them. In any case, what are our differences is a valid question. Wait for the print video which will come out. I'll put it out. Please again, silos and lacks point again. Oh, it's not silos. I gave you a count about the Grad BM21. Let's say we have 30 days worth of ammunition for Grad BM20. Right? 30 days is what our national policy is. And we want to fire only one salvo per day. Okay. That itself is a lakh rounds. So that's the smallest denomination of ammunition you have. So the rest of the ammunition, Pinaka, Brahmos, and Agni, Prithvi, all those, that entire series, plus Smirch, all that you add, you double this, you will get there. So you're looking at already 2 lakhs. It might be more. So that's the thing. Iran and its proxies are no friends of Russia, but West and the US must stop the Russian-Ukrainian war and show its sincerity with Russia. Yeah, that's John Mearsheimer's view also. So, but let us see how this story will come out once the US elections are over. You said you're a good friend with Iran, but also we don't distinguish between good terrorism, bad terrorism. Why should India have friendship with Iran if we know it harbors terrorists? See, I agree with you. It's not a matter of good terrorists and bad terrorists. Strategically, you need Iran. If you don't have Iran on your side, your north-south corridor is at risk. You invested into that port, okay, next to Gwadar. I'm forgetting the name. It'll come to me. Right? You invested. You're operating that port there. To supply Afghanistan, you need that port. We built that road into Afghanistan. You have strategic issues. Let Iran do what it wants the other side. Why are you bothered? As far as Iran behaves well with you, tomorrow if things become okay, Iran is a source of oil, energy. So we should know with whom to deal and not to deal. And we have civilization connect with Iran. Never forget that. We had a better connect with Iran than we had with Pakistan. We had a Air Force team out there who were training their pilots at some point of time. I mean, just for your information, Iran and Israel were the best of friends at one point of time. Yeah, Asrar Chaudhary, Salam and Namaskar from Bangladesh. How can people outside India become members of Ganashot? Yeah, you just press the join button and subscribe. I think you have to pay some 70, 80 rupees per month or 100 rupees per month. That's about all. Not a great deal. And that money, like I told you, all of you request join. You go to the Ganashot site, right, in YouTube only, and then join hoga, press join and subscribe. There's a difference between subscription and joining as member. That's the point. Okay, India is resisting attempts to revive. We'll not talk of SARC. Okay. Do all ballistic missiles re-enter from space? Yes, they do. What determines their range? Then that's all ballistics. Don't worry about it. That's all trajectory simulation. Can't Iran develop ICBMs? They have ballistic missiles. ICBMs are also ballistic missiles. Anand, they're not different. The all ICBMs, IRBMs, MRBMs, they're all ballistic missiles. They come under that category. So don't worry. Where hypersonic? No, this is not. We have answered this question. Shouldn't we hold our principles up then above our interests? See, interests are supreme. Principles be damned. We have, as a nation, we have suffered for showing too many principles and at the cost of our interests. As you become go higher in your value chain, you need to be more clear about your interests than your principles. Rosa. She's come after a long time. India will have no opportunity to do any mediation. It has trust effect. Fine, your view. Is there a possibility of Iran's nuclear program getting wiped out in this conflict? I will not say getting wiped out, but there's a chance that it might get degraded. But then we'll see. How is our capability to intercept missiles? I read only a few cities are covered. Not really sure. Can you shed light on this? See that video. I've explained this in detail because that's a full session with Snehesh I've done. General Shankar, with all that has happened, can Iran negotiate itself into an armistice, maybe with India as a go-between? Too late. We don't know. Let's see how things pan out. This is, still far ahead. Sir, seeing Israeli actions, it appears its final aim is destroying Iran's nuclear capacity and regime change in Tehran. Regime change will mean complete US dominance in Middle East. Will that be good for India? Well, I don't know whether that will be good for India or not. In a way, it will be good because if that happens, your IMEC will go through. The moment IMEC go through, a lot of things will happen. And then you become the hedge for the Middle East countries against USA. So that's a good part. The bad part is USA will be dominating it, right? And that will also become an area for struggle. It's got a different dynamics, but you can't predict everything. You can't wargame every situation you're going to be faced with. Iran has fired 400 ballistic missiles toward Israel, not a single casualty. Yeah, that's a fact. There's no take on that. Based on Netanyahu's address to Iran, it appears Israel is going to eliminate Ayatollah Kamana. Maybe. Let's see. Time. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Chabahar port. Yeah, sorry. It just slipped my mind. Chabahar. Okay. When will POK come to India? Wait. Wait till we talk of JNK, then we'll take this point up. In fact, tomorrow I'm going to have a word with, come back 6 o'clock in the evening. Amjad Ayub Mirza and I will talk of Bangladesh and Pakistan. I told you, no, internal consolidation. Evening tomorrow. Tomorrow again we'll have two, 6 and 8. So hold your question. Bhaskar, come back tomorrow and ask this question. Will the attack on Iran happen before US elections? If it has to happen before that, there's no choice. There's no chance of it happening after that. Let me put it this way. It has to happen immediately. Right. I think I've answered all the questions. Most of the questions I've asked, answered. Where US Navy destroyers were also involved in last night in shooting. Yes, they were. Okay. There's no doubt about it. What is the risk that US will be sucked into Iran-Israel war if wider regional war erupts? How badly will be affected? Yeah, ये सब होगा. Okay, चलो. So, I mean, लड़ाई है यार, सब कुछ हो सकता है. Okay, with this I think, yeah, this fellow is from Pakistan. Will Pakistan grant India trade routes to Afghanistan and Central Asia? I don't think Pakistan can grant itself a trade route, leave alone India. And we are not interested. Let me be very honest with you, we are not interested in Pakistan. Okay, with this I've done for today, or rather for this session. I'll get back another half an hour with General Rajiv Narayanan and we'll talk of China. Okay, thanks for the good response. Come back because today is going to be an interesting evening and tomorrow also will be an interesting evening. You can see it. Okay, bye. Good evening and Jai Hind.